What's up guys, my name is Timbo, and do I have some information to share with you today. Now I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't planning on making another Destiny video right away, but something has happened. And quite honestly, I feel like it's a requirement for me to make this video. So for those of you that have been here for a while, you know that the Stranger character in Destiny and I have some history. In the past, I have made numerous videos on the Stranger trying to uncover her identity and really just find her place in the Destiny story. I have linked her to Osiris in Gaul, I have linked her to Rasputin in the Warminds, and I've even tried linking her to the post-credit scene we see at the end of Destiny 2. If you are interested in watching any of those videos, I'll link them in the description as well as put a button in the top right corner you can click on right now. And so with the news that has surfaced recently, I found that I was actually right? Kind of. Not really. Well, I guess it depends. Let me explain. The second theory video that I made for the Stranger was the second half of a two-part mini-series, I guess you could call it, involving Xur and Rasputin. In it, I talked about puppets and basically how Warminds would take the physical form of an Exo sort of thing. Like I said, if you want to learn about it, go watch those videos. I don't want to spend an insane amount of time prefacing everything. But basically, at the end of that video, I talked about how this Stranger could be some Warmind and that potentially we'd find out more about that in the Warmind expansion, which has since been released a few days ago. And while that is not entirely correct, it looks like the identity of this character has been revealed with the release of this DLC. So as of right now, it has supposedly been revealed that the Stranger is none other than Elsie Bray, Anna Bray's sister, who is one of the main characters in Warmind. But how is this true? Why do people all of a sudden know this? Timbo, why are you so handsome? Guys, don't worry, I will explain. I got time. See what I did there? So back before Destiny 2 even came out, right around the time of my first Stranger video, Luke Smith came out with this quote that effectively shut down all Stranger theories, as well as kind of belittled the darkness or the concept of it. If you don't remember, here's what he had to say. We have a bunch of characters who are interesting, but the Exo Stranger is one that always makes me chuckle a little bit, because I feel like that's one character where we actually wrapped up the arc. She gave you a sweet gun and then dissolved, presumably off to do something else. So I feel like, of all the characters we've introduced and exited, we actually exited her effectively. And when this came out, I remember it so well. Okay, you had a very mixed reception. Some people were disappointed, some were mad, some didn't seem to care at all, some were actually happy wanting Bungie to just start fresh with Destiny 2, and you had people like me that thought he was lying or being clever, which was what spawned the Warmind theory. But looking back at it now, it kind of looks like he wasn't lying, but he wasn't telling the truth either. So here we go with this. Here's the evidence that the Stranger is Anna Bray's sister, or presumably her consciousness from the future that has been uploaded into an Exo body. First of all, if we're going at visuals only, they both have the same circular symbol on their clothing, or if you're the Stranger, just get that sucker tattooed right on your forehead. There's also a lore entry found on the Eon Drive Sparrow that reads this. I'd forgotten what this place looks like. It feels like only yesterday I had a badge and a desk. Not a lot survived, but somehow this old thing is still around. If you've come this far, we have a lot in common. You feel that same drive to see something through the end, don't you? I've never been the sentimental type, but at this point I'm a stranger to my own nature. It just feels right that I'm back for now. By the time you read this, we'll have just missed each other. I've run the simulations and I can't stay. Not yet. Take care of her for me. So we take this lore, and if you're reading it with the mindset that this is the Stranger, an Exo that travels through time and has Anna Bray's sister's consciousness uploaded into it, it adds up. It could be anyone at this point, but then we add more lore coming from yet another Sparrow. I've always used science to create art, whereas Anna applied art to science. I couldn't have finished that Sparrow without my sister's help. The original prototype is long gone, but I've held on to one of the final models. It won't be of much use to me where I'm going, so I'll leave it to you. And then last but not least, on the final message of the recently solved Rasputin ARG puzzle, which if you haven't heard about that, go look it up. It's actually really cool, as it led to a real life treasure in New York with real loot and a javelin and stuff. But either way, upon finding it, it had this to say. Thank you for taking the time to piece together this message, friend. The time of our final conflict is drawing closer, and you and Anna have an important role to play in the events to come. So watch over her, Guardian. I would have no life without Anna or the Exo program. I regret that we have become strangers, but we each have a path that we must walk. And ironically, there never seems to be enough time. Tell her, Rasputin's first attempt was in the right location, but the wrong moment. Look here. And then she puts some coordinates, I believe. And so this one, if you couldn't already tell, is the bombshell. You've got the words Exo program, stranger, not enough time. It's pretty positively clear who this is if you're asking me. But now that we know the identity of the stranger after all this time, where do we go from here? Is there really any point to this for the future of Destiny? And where does Luke Smith's quote fit into all of this? And quite honestly guys, if you're asking me, other than a cool reference and closure to the story, I don't think there's too much to take from this. Don't get me wrong, I find this very cool to know conclusively who the Exo Stranger is, but I don't think this was a way for Bungie to hint at her coming in some future DLC or anything. I know that she mentions a final conflict, which could be something, but at the same time, it could also be nothing or just turn out to be underwhelming. I think in my earlier days, I had so much hope for Destiny and their universe, but looking at how they treated Destiny 2's campaign, and especially Osiris, and even Anna Bray a little bit, I'm gonna hold off on any hype or speculation for the Stranger coming back. Because if she does, which I would like to see in September or something, but I do find unlikely, Destiny still hasn't given me anything to get excited for story-wise. The stories aren't god-awful anymore or anything, but like I've said, they aren't special or really stand out in any way, which to me has always been disappointing, as I think Destiny's lore and universe has so much potential to be really awesome. You know, it always leaves me with the feeling of, sure, I play this game for the endgame and cooperative experience with my friends, but that story could be so much better if they just put in some more effort. If you're asking me, I feel like the Stranger from the beginning was not meant to be this big mystery that it was. Bungie had to completely scrap their original story and make something else really quickly. And one of the pitfalls of that was reassigning characters. We saw that with Uldren Sov, or Crow as he was called back then, and I'm assuming the Stranger had that happen to her as well. So when Luke Smith was asked about her later, they were just gonna scrap her because they didn't mean for the big mystery behind her to happen. But after realizing that got people mad, they just threw her in here as a last-ditch effort Easter egg to conclude her story and give some context for those that still cared. Like me! So guys, that is the identity of the Exo Stranger. After 4 years, we finally know, and I honestly want to know what you all make of this. Make sure to tell me your thoughts and theories down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe. For my old Stranger Theory videos as well as my full Destiny Theory playlist, go check the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.